أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Welcome. We're happy to have you here. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. I want to call your attention to the words at the top of your order of service. Today we will be quoting a number of times the Persian Sufi Hafiz. We are not in pursuit of formalities or fake religious laws. We are people who need love, because love is the soul's life. Love is simply creation's greatest joy. So love be upon you. Today we're celebrating the Islamic holy day of Eid al-Adha, which actually occurs on Wednesday this week. My name is Joyce Ramay, and I'll be leading our service today. Here you will find a diverse and inclusive spiritual community where we welcome people with many beliefs. You can bring your whole self, your full identity, your questioning mind, and your expressive heart. At All Faiths, we have more than one way of experiencing the world and understanding the sacred. No matter who you are, wherever you are on your journey, and no matter whom you love, you are truly welcome here. Is anyone visiting for the first or second time today? If so, please raise your hands. Welcome, we're glad you're with us. If anyone would like to know more about All Faiths, you can see someone with the membership committee after the service. We have a few announcements. One thing is that during the month of June, we are contributing our Share the Plate to the Quality Life Center. If you'd like to donate anything to Quality Life, you can make out your checks to All Faiths and write QLC on the lower left corner. Our climate action team had planned to show a movie on Tuesday this week, but that's been canceled. Joan Marshall, who leads the group, has been suffering with bronchitis, and they will be rescheduling that for later. The other announcements you can see on the page 2 of your order of service. And now I invite you to rise as you are able and join in singing, "Enter, Rejoice, and Come In."
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Dottie Mayo comes forward to light the chalice. Please join together in reciting the words in your order of service. As we light the chalice, may we recall we are brothers and sisters in the family of Abraham, committed together to embrace peace in our lives. At this time, we invite individuals to come forward to share any joys, sorrows, or gratitude that you would like to express today. Michael.
Thank you. Good morning. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that the memorial for Barbara will be July 15th at 11 o'clock right here. Okay, I've told a lot of people, but I'm sure I missed a few, so if somebody's not here and you want to pass that word along, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning. I just want to express thank you to whoever decided and put in motion the class for the Tai Chi Cho. The teacher was excellent. We had a good turnout, right?
Thank you, Dottie. What I said at that class is, I'm hoping that that class will loosen people up so that they can move a little when we have our singing and music here today. So you Tai Chi people, you can teach the others it's okay to move your shoulders and your feet a little bit. Let's get into the spirit here. Thank you for raising that, Dottie. And now I'm going to light a candle for Bob Way and Joan Marshall. They've both been suffering from a very severe bronchitis. We hope that they heal quickly. And I'm lighting this candle for all of you who have joys and sorrows in your hearts. Now I'd like to ask everyone to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let us turn our minds and our hearts to today's service and contemplate all of our blessings. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hands, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Our opening words are called Campaigning by Hafiz, the 14th century Persian Sufi. I often say that the Sufis were the original all faiths people, and you'll see today why that's the case. As the intelligence of the human race evolves, all the campaigning as it were, religions will be viewed differently. One will see they are all basically contestants in a beauty pageant, and the religion that can make your own beauty most known will win your most respect. And also from Hafiz, today we have Cat Epple with us. I am a hole in a flute that the Spirit's breath moves through. I listen to this music. I am the concert from the movements of every creature singing in myriad chords. So please welcome back our favorite flute player, Cat Epple. Thank you, Kat and Dottie. Dottie's had professional training in dancing with her. She has a very best friend who's a professional dancer doing Middle Eastern dancing, and I missed that. We had a lot of that in Pakistan. How can you stay still? The Sufis call for you to dance. Okay. Our reading today is again by Hafiz. In a holy book I have, there are pages from the Bible and the Quran, and pages from the sutras, and from the Upanishads, the Torah, and the Gita, and pages of things that unknown saints write in collaboration with the heavens that people have never seen, and pages of the wisdom of animals and their young, singing while they played the way we once did with the stars, and pages of plants, and pages of sounds, and pages of earth. Yes, it is all there in my soul. Anything ink has ever preserved, anything that stone ever begged to have carved on it, anything, any instrument gifted from its mind, or a brush left for us to see, and space sanctified by dance, I know, and anything that will ever be written in your heart, you, the eyes or ears and cells that now hear this, in a holy book I have, in a sacred text I carry, is the face of everyone who will ever be. Please rise in body and spirit as we sing hymn number 183. We will sing it 3 times. These are words by Sufi poet Rumi, who is a favorite of our former minister, Reverend C.J. McGregor.
Is it 183 or 188? 188. Come, come, whoever you are, wonder, worship, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wonder, worship, lover of leading. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wonder, worship, lover of leading. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Our speaker today is Imam Mohamed al-Darsani, who was born in Damascus, Syria. He graduated from the Louisiana Tech University in 1990. In 2005, he founded the Islamic Center for Peace in Fort Myers, and in 2016, he founded the Interfaith Action Group of Southwest Florida. Some of us were involved with that group. We are pleased to have him with us today to celebrate the family of Abraham and the Islamic holy day of Eid al-Adha. Please welcome Imam Mohamed al-Darsani. Welcome.
I know, but I may not even look at them. I'll just make a phone with them. Now, can you hear me? Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. By the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful. All the praise due to Allah, God Almighty. And may peace, blessing, and prayers be upon Muhammad, his messenger, and his brothers, Jesus and Moses, and their father Abraham, and all of the righteous followers till the day of judgment. Now then, I want to ask you to make a prayer on my behalf, and I will make one on your behalf also, to God, our God, the God of Abraham, who guided us to this, to keep guiding us in our journey, searching for peace and for the truth. I am happy to be with you. I honestly am. And this brings a lot of memories for me. And the highlight of my being with you today is seeing Reverend Wayne Robinson here, who, because of him, this relationship between myself and our group and this church started back in 2001. And I was talking to my friend on the way over here about how the relation started and how great this gentleman, Mr. Robinson, is, and how much he was appreciated by me and by many people like me, and how he really taught me a lot of things and opened my eyes to a lot of things I wouldn't know if I didn't meet him. So I'm very glad to see you. I'm very honored to be one of your friends, if you call me a friend, and you are one of my dearest friends. Thanks. Now, Joyce called me and asked me to come and speak here because of the occasion of Eid al-Adha, the celebration of the festivity, basically, of the sacrifice of Abraham. That's what it is. And we're going to talk a little bit about Abraham today. And I brought with me those notes because when she asked me, I said, I would like to speak about Abraham through the Quran, from the Quran, not from the historic books or any other sources. This way, you'll get to know probably a little bit about Abraham and how he was talked about in the Quran itself from God's direct views about Abraham. And I have 5 pages full here with verses. In each one of them, Abraham is mentioned by name, okay? That's more than Muhammad is mentioned in the Quran, okay? Because why? Our religion, or faith, if you want to call it, I hate to use the word religion anymore. We call it deen. Deen means a system you submit to. You submit to willingly. From the bottom of your heart, you believe what the doctrine says of that deen, and you follow the systems it puts for you. And our faith system, our deen, Islam, is originated by Abraham. Actually, he's the one who called it Islam. People think Islam came with Muhammad. No, it came from the days of Abraham. And he called people who followed his teaching and followed his ways the Muslimin, the Muslims, basically. Now, the occasion that is coming on Wednesday is basically the pinnacle of the pilgrimage that Muslims, every Muslim, is required to make at least once in a lifetime to commemorate Abraham and his family and what he did in a town called Mecca, and in the Bible and the Quran referred to as Becca, okay, where the first house of worship officially built to worship God, the only one God, was built by Abraham himself and his son Ishmael. And at the end of the rituals, which is on Wednesday, people will start sacrificing. Now, we know many people in the world and many political and social systems are against the sacrifice of any type, definitely the human being. And in Islam, I'll tell you a little bit about the story, which is mentioned in the Quran, how that came to happen. We'll start with Abraham since he was a child. Abraham is different from all the prophets and messengers God sent by one and one single attribute or way. All of the other prophets were chosen by God. He picks one and says, you are. Abraham is the only one who came to God, and then God said, you're the one. It was a journey for Abraham searching for God. He grew up in a society where they worshipped idols and statues and the suns and the moon and the fire, and everything around him he was surrounded by people worshiping deities other than God. And that didn't make sense to Abraham, especially when he started searching. You know, some people till today, they worship the sun, some people worship the stars, some people worship the moon, some people worship the fire, some people worship nature, trees, whatever it is. Abraham said, no, the only one who deserves to be worshipped is the one who created all of this. So he went through a journey. He looked at the heavens, he looked around him, and he looked at the temple where his father or his uncles and everybody in his community used to go and worship and offer sacrifices. And they were worshiping statues. What did Abraham do? He tried to talk to them. He said, do you worship something cannot speak and cannot do any good or harm to you? They looked at him strangely. No, he's making sense, but it didn't resonate with them. The reply was, we worship them because we found our forefathers doing that. And what's happening in the society all the time? You have people who behave and pattern their behaviors according to traditions they inherited from their forefathers, from the environments around them, without question. And that's what the people of Abraham were doing. So Abraham took it upon himself to try to tell them, you are doing wrong. When they didn't listen, he said, I'll show you. They went out of town for a celebration or whatever the occasion is, and the temple was empty. So he went and busted all the idols, and he put the axe in the hands of the biggest one, and he left him alone. When they came back, Abraham was young at that time. When they came back and they found that, they were in awe. Somebody destroyed our gods. Who did it? Somebody told on Abraham. They brought Abraham. Why did you do it? He said, to prove to you, ask their leader, the biggest one of them. I left him. He didn't die, or I didn't bust him. Let him tell you who did it or why I did it. Of course, he couldn't talk. And they realize how wrong they are. But unfortunately, because of the sheep and the herd mentality, and following again the forefathers, the information you get from your predecessors or people in authority over you, you follow blindly. They said, are you an idiot? They cannot talk. He said, that's my point. How in the world can you worship something that doesn't talk or doesn't do any good for you or any harm? You make it with your own hands. That's his own words. And then you worship it. And that was the start of Abraham's journey and mission. He was persecuted. They tried to burn him in the fire, but God saved him. In the Quran, it tells us they built a fire and they threw Abraham in the fire. But it didn't burn him. Why? God ordered the fire to be cold, and listen to the next word, and safe. If God said, fire be cold, guess what? We couldn't have coffee today. Literally. But God qualified it. Cold and safe for Abraham, for that certain situation. And that was another miracle God equipped Abraham with to give a proof to the people around him. But they refused, including his father, his own father. He refused to listen. How do I go against the crowd? I can't. So Abraham had no choice but to leave town and settle in different land, way far away from where he was born. And we all know probably the rest of the story. If I want to recite, just reciting the verses I brought in the Quran, it will take all the time that we have. But I want to mention a few points here. Point number one, for all of us, and I'm the one included in this. We look around us and we find a lot of corruptions, a lot of deviation from the truth, a lot of hate, a lot of negative things all over the world. And sometimes we get despaired and we say there's no hope. Guess what? Today I'm going to make you feel really guilty. Literally. Don't laugh. Because you have no excuse, no matter how bad the situation around us is, not to do something. No matter how little it is. And that's what attracted me to Wayne, by the way. I heard, right, when the bombing started, when literally I was on the phone or on the radio listening, when the announced the bombs started falling over Afghanistan back in 2001, and Wayne was in the mosque with us, standing in solidarity and giving a message of hope. And I heard this little story about the hummingbirds when the wood and the forest was on fire and all the animals were trying to find safety and leave, except one little hummingbird coming with a drop of water in his beak to drop it over the fire. And some of the animals laughed and looked at him. What do you think you're doing? He said, I'll do what I can do. And if everyone does what he can do, we'll be in good shape. And why I'm saying this, we all, in our golden years, we all think it's over, we need to retire, we cannot do this, we cannot do that. Guess what? When did really Abraham start? Think about it. At very old age, in his 80s. I don't know if you knew that. Abraham started really in his 80s. When did he get Isaac? Think about it. Abraham got Isaac, he was about 85 years old. When the angels came and gave the glad tidings to him and his wife, they were really old. She even laughed at the angels. What are you talking about? He's too old and I'm beyond it. They said God is able to do anything. And he got Isaac. Then Abraham And that will lead us again to the story of the sacrifices. You know, he was ordered to slaughter his son, to sacrifice his son. This didn't come from God, by the way. A lot of people think that God told him to do that. God absolutely will not do that. But Abraham carried with him an influence of the society where he was living. They used to offer sacrifices to their gods, and they used to offer human. In the past, they did, either to the fire or to the Nile or to any deity that they choose. They would sacrifice their best or some of the best people in order to please the gods. And that was happening all around Abraham. But he kept in his dream saying, okay, I found God, the true God, the creator of the whole universe, who created me and created everything. I need to give something to him. And what he saw, several times he saw in his dream that he is offering his son. Imagine you are 85 years old, you got a son, now he's 7, 8, probably 10 years old, and you're saying you need to sacrifice that to your God. It was disturbing. He shared that with his young son. And the young son was as righteous as his father was. And he replied, Father, do what you are commanded and you see best. So he decided, I'm going to sacrifice my son. And then the gift from God, again, the rescue came from God to Abraham by replacing his son with a big lamb. And that's what is going to happen on Wednesday. Millions of people will be sacrificing lambs and other probably edible animals for the sake of God, to share it with those who are in need. Some people think, okay, they sacrifice so they please God. No, pleasing God is given that lamb or that meat that come out of that lamb or cows or whatever you offer to those people who are in need and cannot have it otherwise. That's what it is. It's not a waste. It's actually showing of love and sharing. And back in the past, by the way, wealth was measured by how much cattle you have, not by money. There was no money at that time anyway. So how many heads of cattle, sheep, cows, goats, whatever it is you have, that's how rich you are. And Abraham was wealthy, by the way, very wealthy. He owned lands, he owned not people probably, but he owned servants, or he had servants, he had everything you can imagine. And he dedicated all of that for God. And he went and built that first house to worship in Mecca. And God told him, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ. Adhan means calls. You heard the adhan a minute ago, a few minutes ago, where the service started by the call of prayers for Islam, which I'm going to translate to you. Probably none of you understood what was said in there. You know, when the Jews wanted to go to prayer, what did they use to call for the prayer? The horn. Okay. When the Christians wanted to call the prayers, what did they use? Or will still use even till today? Thank you. The bells. You go to cities, you'll be in Damascus. Literally, you'll be sitting in Damascus some afternoon or some morning, and you suddenly hear the call for the prayer is coming from the Muslim minarets, okay, and the bells of the churches doing. And in some areas, the call for the Jews' prayers is always done simultaneously. You can hear him all together. So the call for the prayer in Islam came during the Prophet Muhammad, when one of his companions saw a vision after a question. Well, okay, we want to call people to come and pray, to congregate and pray. So what do we do? What do we should use, the Christian way or the Jewish way? And Muhammad said, we'll see. The next day, a companion showed up and said, I saw a dream. He said, what is it? He said, a call for the prayer. He said, show us, tell us. He said, you say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is the greatest. Nothing greater than God. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I bear witness that there is no deity but Allah, the only one and true God. What's the first commandment in the Bible? Old and New Testaments. Your God is one. What did Abraham worship? The only one and true God. And I bear witness there is no deity worthy of worship but God, and I bear witness that Muhammad is a messenger of God, a human being who was commissioned to deliver a message. Hayya ala salah, come to prayer. Basically, come to connect with God. Come to success, because that's the true success. We think success is to build a career, accumulate wealth, do whatever we want to do in this life and enjoy it, and enjoy a few retirement years and die, and that's it. No. The true success is to build a place for you in the kingdom of God that will last for eternity. How many years we're going to live in here? Let's say 100, 120, 130, 160. We don't know anybody who lived 160, do we? No. But let's say somebody can make it to 200. Then we're going to die. Well, guess what? This is nothing compared to eternity. No matter how large the number, compared to eternity is less than a fraction. It's close to zero, or zero, practically. So that life is the true success. How you want to live it, the quality of that life. And this is the test ground and the preparation ground for it. Come to the prayers, come to connect. Prayers in Islam called salah. Salah means two things. Rituals that take minutes to do, and connection. Literally, salah means sila, means connection. You connect with God, who created you and who breathed his spirit in you to become a human being as you are today, different from all creation. And he made us the best of creation to inherit his authority on this earth and to make it a kingdom of his by doing what he chose for us and told us, not command us. Yes, he commands us, but he gives us the choice. We're the only creature in this universe who have a choice. We have a choice to be with good or with evil, because they'll always be there. And they'll always be struggling and fighting. And nobody knows who's going to win at the end. But the true success Abraham called for, and Jesus called for, and Moses called for, is on which side you're going to be, regardless you win or not. Where you are in that struggle. You mentioned love, love, love. Love cannot exist without peace. It exists, but it is really suffering. But love with peace is joy. I can love my enemy, and he might make me suffer by inflicting severe pain on me. But it's a joy if I win his heart, and he become my friend. And what Abraham called for is not limited to him, his people, and his time only, or his family. God told him, وَأَذِّنْ فِي النَّاسِ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. He told him to call people. He didn't say call the believers or the Muslims, his people. يأتوك رجالا, they'll come to you. Including people who will walk the distance to come to you. And to where? To where Mecca is now. So they can have a conference. That's what God told him. So they can come and share goodness and learn from each other, basically. And every year, till today, since that call was made, the first people probably was Abraham and his family, but today, literally, tens, if not hundreds of millions of people do the pilgrimage trip to Mecca every single year for the call of Abraham, to answer the call of Abraham, to fulfill the call of Abraham. And that will last forever. This is a blessing from God. And the last thing I want to finish with, maybe I took a little extra time. I mentioned that we have to be on certain side, and we have to do something no matter what our conditions, our age, our financial, our status in society is. Every one of us has a mission, and we cannot neglect that. But our first responsibility is toward our own selves, to find the truth. And that's how Allah, God Almighty, always described Abraham in every one of these verses. God said, describing Abraham, saying, كان حنيفا, Hanif. Hanif means the man who sticks to the basics and do not change and always lean to the truth. Meaning, stick to what Abraham delivered in his message, his ways. Stick to the basic. And what happened to him? And always is followed. He was Hanif, as you know, Hanif, I'm sure you know the meaning of Hanif too. And وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and was not a Jew, nor was he Christian. And now, unfortunately, many Muslims are following in the same suits, where we create a cult. We say, we are the only people worthy of God and his salvation, and everybody else is no good. Abraham didn't say that. Abraham says, I will pray even for my father who rejected me. That's what the Quran tells us. Find the truth, find God, spread the message or the deen of Abraham, where Allah says his deen was values. And if you look at our values, they come 100% from the Abrahamic teaching. And they start by your God is one. And I wish I had more time, but this is basically what the Muslim will be celebrating in a few days from now. And as you mentioned at the beginning, this is the family of Abraham. I invite you to learn more about Abraham through the Quran's eyes and God's words himself. And I do appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today, and it was wonderful to see you, and keep me in your prayers, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'll come back to it.
Thank you so much, Imam, for sharing the story of Abraham. Abraham was called the friend of God, the friend of Allah. And I like to think of Abraham. He's, of course, was an early monotheist, and I call him an early Unitarian. So Abraham is part of the family, and I liked your reference to Salat Connections. Our newsletter is called Connections. Connections are what life is all about. connecting with all the goodness of the universe and with all creatures on earth and with all living things and with each other. Thank you so much for your message today. We appreciate it very much. And now we come to that reality of the basic of facts, paying the bills. It's time for our offertory, and we appreciate your generous donations. And Cat Epple will be playing Tranquility Hideaway. Let there be peace on earth and tranquility, the way the cat plays. If everyone listened to that kind of music every day of their lives, do you think there'd be war and hatred in this world? No, thank you, Cat. That was so beautiful. Our closing words today are an Eid prayer. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the gracious and merciful. In every smile and laughter, in every silent prayer answered, in every opportunity that knocks at our doors, may Allah bless us. May this holy day bring us immense joy, peace, and prosperity. May Allah bless us and all humankind with happiness, love, and wisdom. And Sufi mystic poet Hafiz said, I wish I could speak like music. I wish I could put the swaying splendor of fields into words so that you hold truth against your body and dance. And now, dance in spirit with Cat as she plays in the bird garden. Did you soar? Ah. Every morning my dog takes me out before sunrise, and one of the blessings of that time of the day is you hear the chirping of the birds, like the chirping of the flute. Ah, so magnificent. Thank you so much, Kat. We appreciate the words of our good friend of many years, Mohamed Darsani. Thank you for your inspiring and informative message. And I'm glad you talked about Abraham and that sacrifice, because I always said that God didn't tell him to sacrifice his son. What he said was, "That isn't what I had in mind, Abraham. Here, take this lamb. You got it all wrong." And that was the end of human sacrifice in that part of the world. And so I'm glad you clarified that too. So, and we thank Kat Epple for her beautiful spiritual music on the flute, and our wonderful Carlos Garcia for accompanying us on our hymns, Regina on our camera, and Ed Elrod for our sound, Joe Gayton who welcomes us when we arrive, and Nicole Racine and Frank Geltner, and Michelle Gemma's back there. She's going to be serving ice cream to us, and we thank our greeters. It is so good to be connected in whatever way that we can. And now I invite Dottie to come forward to extinguish the chalice. Please recite the words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. And please join us for ice cream, coffee, and conversation, and opportunity to exchange words with Imam Darsani. Thank you all for being here today.